At Women Biz, our mission is different, but
Yeah.
we're somewhat connected because we are creating space for women to lead, to collaborate, and at the same time to shine. We want to nurture the next generation of women leaders so that, the work to do today creates a lasting impact tomorrow. By this, you help Filipinas see that leadership is not just confined in a single path because there are many doors, and these doors are open
Yes,
for
yeah.
everyone.
Thought-provoking conversations with the people shaping our country. We uncover stories behind the headlines with influential voices from the Philippines and beyond. This is Manila Bulletin's The Sitdown.
Hi, this is Philip Kunhing, and welcome to another episode of The Sitdown, a special set of episodes that we've created just for this Women's Month, and we hope you've been following them and enjoying the figures and personalities that we've been bringing together to be part of this sit-down. Today, we have somebody who I feel personally is really special because I've known her for over 20 years, and I'd like to think that beyond her professional capacity as Senior Executive Vice President and Chief Operating Officer of the Wilcon Depot, which is a publicly listed company, I can also consider her a friend. And I was so proud to hear that she's now the incoming president for the Women's Business Council of the Philippines, WomenBizPH. No?
Yes, correct.
So I would like to welcome Rosemarie Bosch-Ong to the sit-down.
Yeah, hello, Philip. The
Hi.
pleasure is mine. Thank
Okay.
you for having me.
Okay, so it's like I know a little bit already about you. So I know it's been 42 years now that you've been
Yes.
here with Wilcon, no? So as you've been traversing those 42 years now, when you look back, what do you think are the most major or important contributions you've made to the company? Because we're helping establish exactly what you've done for Wilcon and why now this role of Women's Business Council is something that was such a natural fit for you.
Well, I guess it's really more of a collective effort of everyone. No? So I really continue to work closely with my teams. No, of course, in ensuring or strengthening the foundation and the future growth of the company. No, I guess one of the biggest contribution that I would say is that I help build the brand
Okay.
from what it is
Yes.
now, diba?
Yeah.
And that's really very notable. I mean. Through the years, no, Wilcon has been the top of mind of every Filipino whenever they think of building and improving their homes,
True,
right?
yeah.
So, yeah, I guess that's one. And the most recent, of course, you always remember the most recent, no? So I think one of the, things that I've championed is a signature Alagang Wilcon customer service, which focuses more on the genuine care, the reliability, and of course focusing on that personal assistance, no, every time you meet or you encounter a customer. And Philip, every year, you remember
Yes.
we've been having this kick-off and teams,
Right.
no. So we have this series of what do you call this, battle cry, no? So 2025 we launched the Tatak Wilcon formula, which is about empowered people. Plus, of course, that excellent customer experience that we provide is equals to sustainable profit. So it's very simple. It's like,
Okay.
a formula that everyone should follow. And then for this year, 2026, we launched the Tatag Wilcon formula, which is people first leadership. And you couple it with innovation that matters, that's equals to sustainable progress.
Okay.
Kasi really, it's focusing more on sustaining trust,
Yeah.
building long-term relationships, and making sure that, I've mentioned to you earlier na, we make sure that every project, whether it's small or big, it's always supported with excellence.
Okay, and how do you lend all of this experience now that you're assuming the role of President of Women's Business Council? Are there particular directions or activities that the Women's Business Council will be engaging in the coming year?
First and foremost, no, the very basic thing that I should do is to support the mission of WomenBizPH, no, which is empowering women in business, no. So you have to tie it up with economic empowerment, no, because all of these things, no, the issues about women, like you mentioned about there's going to be a conference in
Yes.
the UN, no,
Yeah,
they will talk
yeah.
about poverty and poverty, no. So you cannot achieve all of this if you don't empower women economically first,
yes,
no?
first, yeah.
So that's very important, no? And of course, with that said, no, we it's our mandate to provide equal opportunities for women to lead, to contribute, and to grow, no? because when organizations grow, it will become more dynamic, innovative, and of course, ultimately, it will become successful. No?
Okay, and I like the way, from what I've experienced when I've attended the Women's Biz events, no, is that I enjoy appreciating the diversity of
Yeah.
who composes, no, the Women's Biz Council. I mean, there's women from finance, from retail, from tourism, from construction, from technology, from logistics. So how do you make that really inspirational nga for the average Filipina who is still either at the SME stage or looking just to be an employee first in a company? Di ba? How do you sort of inspire them to see that there is a path that they can take that will really be empowering for them?
Well, you mentioned about the diversity, no? So we try to spotlight, especially during, let's say, we have conferences or forums, no? We try to spotlight these women leaders, no,
Okay.
across the different sectors, no? You mentioned finance, no?
Yeah.
We have experts in every field, no? And we do that through storytelling campaigns. No, we
Okay,
showcase
it's
them,
nice. Yeah.
of course, not to brag about their achievements,
Yeah.
but also to inspire, the future women leaders, no, and also probably they will share the challenges and the lessons that they've learned, no, in their journey, that's made them very resilient behind every success, no.
Yeah.
So we try to create a cross-industry mentorship circle, no? So, because by this, you help Filipinas see that leadership is not just confined in a single path, because there are many doors, and these doors are open
Yes,
for
yeah.
everyone, no? So, we try to organize all this, we call them immersion sessions and leadership forums that give these inspiring or aspiring women leaders, no, access to role models.
And are these done exclusively for women audiences, or can men also join?
Yeah, of
and,
course, men can join. In fact,
Okay.
you're one of our guests
Yeah, I
during
know.
the
Yeah,
Sustainable
right.
Women
Yeah.
Summit, right? So
Okay.
everybody should be represented. It's accessible to everyone, so that inspiration will turn into belief and action.
Okay.
Right?
If you don't mind me mentioning, no, we've also talked about how you really see a lot of women in middle management, no. But when you talk about the boardroom, there are still hard set sometimes attitudes and feelings about. I don't know how you feel about it, no. But unless, for example, the woman is a family member of the company, of the family that owns the company, sometimes it's still difficult to find women in the boardroom. You being one of the exceptions.
Yeah.
Do you feel that the women who form the board of directors of Women's Biz PH are also all exceptions to the rule pa rin? Or do you feel that trend has already been changing and that glass ceiling of the boardroom has slowly been cracking?
Well, of course, it's everyone's responsibility, no, not just women biz, but in
Yeah.
any board, no, is to normalize women in the boardroom.
Yeah.
You mentioned not because they're, they're founders or
Yeah.
they're family members, but because they are qualified,
Yeah.
they are competent, and of course, they can deliver. They bring, indispensable strategic leadership, no.
Yeah.
So breaking the ceiling, I guess, is no longer about access to it, no. It's about, sustained representation. It's about the readiness of that person, no, in making collective decision to make inclusive leadership a standard, right?
Yeah, you were mentioning the quote about the best man sometime. What do you say?
Yeah. The quote of the
Yeah,
one
the
that I
quote.
mentioned, the best man for the job sometimes is a woman, right?
Okay. So and you feel that's very true here in the Philippines,
Yes,
no?
yes,
I mean,
yes.
because what? There's more empathy sometimes on the part of a woman when she takes on an executive role that sometimes the man is kulang with, or emotional quotient.
I guess in terms of that, no, because in the Philippines,
Yeah.
no, men really respect women.
Yes.
Yeah. So I guess
Well, not in Congress necessarily. Pero,
Oh, yeah.
Okay, but
It's
yeah,
just
let's
sad,
go to that later.
Yeah,
no?
yeah.
Okay, but yeah, men
Yeah.
respect women.
Yeah,
You're saying,
because
yeah.
that's that element of respect, and of course, I guess it's really what you put on the table.
Yeah.
That's the most important. No,
Yeah.
I mentioned about being competent, being qualified.
Yeah.
And you have to represent women as a as a competent leader, right?
And for me, what's not recognized often is the duality of the role that woman has to play.
Yes.
Diba? One moment they have a work position, or it doesn't mean that they their job as their position as a mother or as a provider is a nurturer is diminished. Diba? They still have
Yes.
to do that at the same time.
I guess that's what make women, distinct from men.
Yeah.
That element of, care.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your own rise up the corporate ladder, because we were mentioning the 42 years you've been here with Wilcon Depot, no? Do you feel that there were challenges that you really faced in particular in the beginning, and that it was always like you were like more of the outsider in terms of, or the outlier in terms of trying to push yourself in terms of moving up the ladder?
Well, I guess what's important is the support that you get from, people around you.
Okay.
To start with, no, my late husband.
Yes.
He's been very supportive. He's my number one fan, I
Yeah,
would say,
yeah.
So can I share this? There's this one event, one big event wherein I'm one of the speakers, I guess, at the time. And then everybody was laughing in the registration area because you know what? He put his, there's supposed to be what do you call this? The ID, right?
Yeah, the badge.
So
yeah,
the
right.
badge, what he asked the reception was that to put their husband of Rose, no. So that's
Okay.
how supportive my husband is, no. But on a lighter note, yes,
Yeah.
I guess my late husband was really, he really supported me. As I mentioned, is my number one fan, and of course, my mother also at the time
Okay.
that I was, she's the one doing the job, no,
Yeah.
for me, no, so that I'll be able to, I'm able to concentrate on my
Okay, she
my
would
work.
double up as being like
Yeah.
mother to the
Yeah,
children
to
or
my-
whatever,
to my
or
son,
household,
yeah,
to
yeah,
Amos.
yeah.
Okay. And I guess you also have to give credit also maybe within the company, no? That Mr.
Yes,
Bella
of
was
course.
very
Yeah,
open in terms
he's
of
my mentor. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's been very supportive, and I guess that women empowerment I would not achieve it if he did not push me up.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Mr. William Bello at no point in time felt na it's a construction company. It looks like it's very man or male dominated. Na it would be not right for him to be sort of allowing somebody who's a woman to be parang taking on so much responsibility. It was never
No,
a
I
question
did
on
not
his
feel
part.
that,
Okay.
but I felt the solid support that
Okay.
he had given me. No, So,
That's
yeah.
great. That's great.
Mhm,
That's
yeah.
nice to know. No? Because like we were also talking about how it really needs also the men to support that concept of inclusivity.
Yes.
No? Because otherwise you're just exchanging one exclusive domain of male dominated with another exclusive domain of female dominated.
Yes.
Diba? It has to
Actually,
really be
it's a
working
process.
together.
Yeah, it's a process. I mean, women should get involved in empowering women. At the same time, men should also get involved in empowering women, right?
Yeah. And do you
Yeah.
feel there's still sort of like resistance on the part of the traditional Filipino? He respects the woman, but does he accept the woman as an equal, for example, in the job in the job place?
Well, especially here in our company, no. I mean, majority of the support are women. I would say, no. I mean, in terms of number of women working on the floor, right?
Yeah.
So you see a lot of women, no. But of course, there are other jobs also that cannot be done by women, like for
Yes,
example, forklift operators,
yeah,
no.
yeah,
But would you believe now, no? Even cashiering, because we're having challenges with cashiers, no? Especially the younger generation now when they get their maternity leaves like 3 months, no. So
Right.
we're putting in male cashiers
male
now,
cashiers
no, in
now,
some of the
okay.
stores,
Which
no.
was a
So
traditional
it's really
women,
very dynamic, no.
Yeah.
So we allow regardless of gender,
Yeah.
it's really what you can deliver,
Yeah.
what you can.
Which ideally would have really been the case, but it's qualifications, it's,
Yes,
it's
it's
whoever
really
can, yeah.
the qualification, of
Yeah.
course, and the competence, right?
Yeah.
That's very important.
I was
Yeah.
joking with you earlier, but I wanted to throw this question to you, and you were like mulling on it. With what you know now, what would be the best advice you would give the 20-year-old Rosemarie Bosch-Ong?
Well, I guess I don't want to change anything,
Okay.
right? So I'm comfortable, being me as I am,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and in terms of the support system, you felt you've always had that kind
Yes,
of a
I've
support
had that.
system.
Yeah, not just from close relative, but basically the community where
Okay.
especially my different advocacies. No?
Yes, yeah.
So I really feel the support of the community.
Let's touch again on
Yeah.
the ASEAN-related events that are happening. No, there's a big one I understand in November. No,
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about one in
Well,
November?
so Women Biz Council Philippines has been designated as the lead women's organization supporting the Philippines' upcoming ASEAN initiatives. No,
Okay.
I'm sure you're aware that we'll be hosting the ABAC, the
Yes.
ASEAN Business Advisory Council. No, so it's really a very strong collaboration between private sector and we as an organization. No, so we'll be holding the main event, no, for women, the ASEAN Women Economic Summit, no?
Okay.
And the theme for that ASEAN Women Economic Summit for 2026 is weaving the ASEAN future through inclusion, integration, and innovation.
Okay.
So it's really driving women into those three aspects, no?
Inclusion, integration,
And innovation. Yeah.
Okay, that's
So
nice.
also, there are several packet events also that will be happening. Also, the ASEAN Trade Expo.
Yeah.
Wherein it's a very diversified, expo because we believe that there's unity in diversity, right?
yeah.
So if all of us, speak the same, and we want to establish a strong ASEAN region, no? So we will also be holding the amazing weaves and waves, no? So
Okay.
yeah, so many things really, so many exciting things happening on,
And amazing weaves and waves is still part of that whole
it's part of that,
integration,
yeah,
innovation, and,
exactly,
and
yeah,
inclusion.
yeah.
Okay.
So it's really focused on economic empowerment and, of course, the regional collaboration. Yeah.
Yeah. And you feel like when you come in now as president of the Women's Business Council, that's for how long a term?
Well, it's supposed to be 2 years,
Ah,
right?
it's for 2 years
yeah.
already. Okay, so it's until the end of 2027.
Yes.
Okay. That's nice. So at least there's continuity because
Yes.
I think that's also what happens a lot of times with almost every organization or political office, di ba? The
Yeah.
continuity issue because
Yeah.
it's such an ego thing all the time, no? Na I'm now the mayor, I'm now the governor, I'm now the president.
Yeah.
Who cares about what the former did, di ba? I have to now stamp my own personality regardless of the merits of what happened before. So
Yeah.
how do you marry or blend continuity with
Yeah.
what you bring to the table in terms of creating a new face for women's business?
Well, of course, my first priority really is membership growth. No, we
Yeah.
want to expand our network to include more women leaders, more entrepreneurs, and of course allies who share our vision of inclusive progress. No,
Yeah.
so you spoke about legacy and continuity. No, so.
Yeah.
My key priority really is, legacy and continuity through, of course, mentorship, no? Because
Yeah.
we want to nurture the next generation of women leaders so that, the work to do today creates a lasting impact tomorrow, right?
Yes, yeah.
So you mentioned that 2 years, it's a short,
Yes,
it's a short time, no?
yeah.
So for us to be able to prepare the next one and continue with whatever we've started, no?
Yeah.
So that's really blending continuity with direction, I
Okay.
guess.
But are there new innovative features that you feel you'd like to bring into play as you assume the presidency?
We have this. We want to continue the strong network. No, it's a trade fair, but I want to digitize it. I want to
Okay,
create a
okay.
platform wherein you don't need to physically,
attend
like
the event.
we do
Yeah.
it in every, major malls or major cities. No, so instead of you going to Cebu for the
Yeah.
fair, no, so we want to create this app
Okay.
wherein there's access for everyone. No,
Okay.
yeah.
So that almost parallels what you've been doing here at Wilcon, di ba?
Yeah.
Because you have that omni-channel strategy,
Yes,
di ba?
yes.
Nice ba the segue, no? So yun. So we have that thing. That's something that you personally try to really develop and grow over the years here at Wilcon?
Actually, that omni-channel strategy, it's been there, no? Especially we beef it up during the pandemic,
Yeah.
no? So we're really strengthening it. Our omni-channel journey is really evolving, no? Because
Yeah.
we need to be adaptive, no? We try to adapt and improve, no? So that, whether you're online and offline, consistency is the key.
Yes.
So the customer will not feel whether
Yeah.
I'm in the space or
Yeah.
I'm in the floor. No, so the major lesson really is integrating the system, integrating the messaging. That's very important, so that the path to purchase, whether you're online or offline, is really seamless. No.
Yeah. And then
Yeah.
the next step, I guess, would be like what you were talking about, Tatag Wilcon, no? Is that it's also the staff, the training of the staff.
Yes, the
di ba?
training
because
of
they
the
have to be
staff. Yeah,
consistent so
yeah.
that the messaging is also
Yeah.
all together, no? Would you say that this customer focus and empathetic understanding of what Wilcon is known for is something that you also personally try to sort of like direct or course in the time that you were in charge of operations?
Yeah, I mean, it's really more of combining,
Yeah.
both the offline and online experience. No?
Okay.
So that digital, that whether you're in the digital platform or whether you're on the floor, no, you feel the same experience,
Okay.
and you feel the value proposition that Wilcon is offering, no, great, excellent customer service, and of course the quality products that we offer. I
Okay.
think that's the very
Yeah.
core
And
of the
then-
messaging.
And
yeah.
then for the listeners out there, or the ones who are viewing this, when you say digital, you're also talking about different digital channels,
Yes,
platforms,
different
not just
platforms,
one.
yeah.
Not just one.
We
diba?
have our Wilcon online store. We
Yeah.
call it the WOS. And then we're also in the marketplaces.
Okay.
And even the brands, no, each brand will have their own store in the marketplace, no.
Okay.
So basically, it's really expanding and reaching out to more markets, no. That's the dynamic of
Okay. It's nice. Yeah.
doing it digitally, right?
Okay. Let's shift now a little bit to the lighter side of Ma'am Rosemarie Bosch-Ong. Over the last 3 years, what would have been your favorite travel destinations with Amos?
Well, a lot, no. Of
Okay.
course, the most notable would be New York, no.
Okay.
And of course, lately we've been traveling a lot in Europe, no.
Okay.
So we've been to so many places, and Europe has a different character, no.
Yes, yeah.
It's
Each
more,
country- in fact,
each
each
country
country,
would
diba?
have
Yeah.
different like for example, when you talk about, let's say, Portugal,
Yeah.
So it's really very, very unique and,
Yeah.
and diverse, and the warmth, and of course, I would say Portugal's really underrated, no.
Okay.
So Italy, the experience that of late, no,
Yeah.
we've been traveling there for the past 2 consecutive years, no.
Okay.
Yes.
But different cities in Italy, or you go back to the same one?
Different cities, I would say, especially the most recent one that we did, no, during the Holy Door, so we had experiences of going to so many places in Italy. Would you believe we went to that place? I call it, Amos, this is the capo of Italy,
Okay.
where we ate that famous pizza, no,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah,
the
okay.
Napoli,
Napoli,
Napoli, no.
yeah,
So I
Naples,
call it
yeah.
the capo of
Of
Italy, yeah.
Italy, okay.
And then we went to different places, no.
Yeah.
We went as far as Amalfi,
Yeah.
and then of course Sorrento area, no. So yeah, very, very, very dynamic.
And if there's a bucket list for this year or the next year, well, maybe not this year given what's happening in the Middle East, pero
Yeah.
at least if there's a bucket list for where you'd still like to travel that you haven't gone yet, ni Amos, which would this be?
You mentioned Middle East, no. I
Yeah.
haven't been to Egypt, you know.
Okay, so you would like to go to Egypt,
That's
but
one.
not this time of the year.
Yeah, probably not this time of the year.
Okay.
And of course, what else? I haven't been to South Africa.
South Africa.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, South Africa
Yeah.
is supposed to be very enjoyable
Yes,
also.
yes.
But you've done safaris now in the... or
Well, of
you-
course, safaris in other areas
you
where
know, in
it's
Africa.
yeah.
You've already done.
Yeah.
Okay. You mentioned New York as one of the popular
Yes.
places that you would visit with Amos. Are there particular dining spots that you always go back to, or are you the type who wants to go to something new each time you visit?
Yes, I'm the last,
Okay,
Yeah, I like to try, every time I like to try something new. No,
Okay.
But when you talk about steak, Peter Luger is
Yeah,
top on
of
my
course,
list. And
yes.
of course, Smith and Walensky and all
Yeah.
this, no? So,
Yeah.
but basically, yes, I want to try something new every time, especially during restaurant week.
Yeah. Okay. So if it's Peter Luger, you don't mind the trip to Brooklyn. You don't mind
No,
that at all.
yeah.
Okay.
Because before going to Peter, you can pass by Roberta's for the pizza, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Sige, so that's nice. Do you consider yourself a day person or a night person, Rose?
I can be both.
You can be both? Okay.
I start my day early. I go to mass at 7 a.m. and then, but I have to be on my bed. Latest would be 11 o'clock. Otherwise, if too late already, I'll
Yeah.
have a hard time sleeping.
Because me, I don't know if it's my age, but I survive on 4 to 5 hours sleep. Are you the same? No, naman.
No.
No. Okay.
I sleep up to 6-7 hours a
okay.
day. Yeah.
Which is still less than 8.
Yes,
but yeah, that's
but
still nice.
I wake up very early as early as 5:30 a.m.
Okay.
Yeah.
And your favorite movie or limited series that you've watched early this year or just late last year?
Wait, you know what? I'm stuck with that love story between John F. Kennedy Jr. and Caroline Bisset.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
I'm
that's the one you've
following
been
it.
watching.
Yeah,
You've been
I'm following
that.
it up.
And
Yeah.
are there any go-to authors that you've also sort of really been partial to over the past?
Well, the latest book I've read is the one Bloom by Dan Pontefranc. Yeah, that's where
Okay.
I get the inspiration for my Tatag Wilcon and Tatak Wilcon series.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you adapt
Yeah.
whatever they're talking about and make it
Yes.
customized for,
Yeah, for
the
Wilcon,
Philippine
yeah,
situation and
yes.
Wilcon in particular.
Yeah.
Okay, leading a major retail corporation and now a national women's organization, you have to balance corporate growth with community impact, no?
Yes.
How do you drive to excel in both? How do you segregate sometimes the two aspects? And do you think shifts in focus are needed at particular junctures in time? Or is it all just one sort of like, overall strategy for you?
Well, balancing corporate growth and community impact
Yeah.
should go hand in hand. It's
Okay.
not about choosing one over the other,
Okay.
right? So, you know, important for Wilcon, most especially, corporate growth is really very important.
Right. Yeah.
And of course, because we need to expand, that's why
Yeah.
we're expanding, we're growing, we're innovating, so that we can continually serve our customers, in helping them build, improve, and renovate their homes,
You're 107 branches now?
107 now.
107, okay.
But of course, when you talk about community impact,
yeah.
it's not just about, growing.
Yeah.
Growing without meaning is empty,
Yes.
right? Because at the end of the day, the question is, who are you growing for?
Yeah.
Right? So for Wilcon, we are growing for our customers, when they
Yes.
build their first homes or even their other spaces, we are growing for, builders and contractors
Okay.
who want to build their reputation.
Yeah.
And we are growing for, for entrepreneurs who want to build their business,
Yeah.
So it has to go hand in hand, really,
Okay.
because personally, for me, community impact is stewardship,
Yeah.
Diba? So, it's really more about how you lead your people, At WomenBiz, our mission is different, but
Yeah.
we're somewhat connected because we are creating space for women to lead, to collaborate, and at the same time to shine. I've mentioned that, how relevant are we
Yeah.
in society? Are we creating opportunities? Are we uplifting people's lives, or are we creating something that will outlast us?
Okay.
So at the end of the day, it's what's the most important thing is that we're aligned.
Yeah.
We're in the same page, So when communities grow, definitely business will grow, business will prosper. Yeah.
No, and that's nice because then it's not just growth on membership, di ba? Because it's
Yes.
easy to say, hey, I have amassed so many
Yeah.
members, but you're not naman running for Congress, di ba? So it has to be something that's really more sort of qualitative for whoever has now become a member of the
Yes.
council, no?
So it will become, your leadership would become purposeful
Yeah.
with meaning, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Before, we're going to the tail end of this discussion, but I can't not help but point out to what happened yesterday, di ba, in Congress, in terms of are we still that far from really having women have an equal footing with men, or in terms of attitudes, or in terms of di ba, inclusivity and respect for each gender? Is that really how far we still are? What would you like to
Yeah.
comment about that?
Well, empowering women is a process.
Yeah.
It involves not just women,
Yeah.
also men, right?
Right.
So it's just sad,
Yeah.
that especially during this time, it's Women's Month, we
Yes,
should
I
be
know. The timing, I
uplifting
know.
women. The timing is bad,
Yeah.
I'm just sad that, the insensitivity of some people,
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And that we'll leave it at that. I know, because we
Yes,
don't want to
yes.
go political in terms of our discussion.
Yes,
But
yes.
if you were to conduct your own sit down, who would you like to guess? And this can be a living person or a historical figure.
Well, it's not bad to dream, right?
Yeah.
So, Amal Clooney.
Okay, Amal
Yeah.
Clooney. Okay, so a living person who really
Yes.
has a dynamic force, is considered a dynamic force, di ba?
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Any particular reason why Amal Clooney?
Because of her strong conviction,
Yes.
I guess she also fights for women's rights, right?
Yes.
And she's a lawyer, you
Right,
know.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that's nice. So thank you so much, Rose, for joining us for this sit down. And we hope everyone here enjoyed the session we had today with Miss Rose-Ong, and that it's still part and parcel of how we're trying to really bring sort of certain female personalities together for Women's Month. Thank you so much.